All right, we're back here with another podcast. It's kind of been a while since our last one, probably the state games or future games maybe, but big weekend here for us. We had the All-American game this past weekend, as well as the Grand Park Fall Championships and then the PUMA Classic, which are also really big Midwest events for us here in Illinois and Wisconsin. Josh Fields is here with us. He is our Wisconsin guy, and this is his first time with our Illinois podcast, so we're pumped to have him on. So, Fields, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, Josh is not only is he our Wisconsin guy, he is a jack of all trades. He has been crushing the scouting for us in Wisconsin all spring, all summer long. But he also basically lives up there at the Rock. He sees Illinois guys. He sees guys from all other states, and he's vital, with where guys should be placed in Illinois, let alone Wisconsin. And one thing he's really taken the reins on this fall is just crushing the JUCO stuff that we do. You mentioned it, Gavin, one of our last podcasts was at the end of the summer after the Illinois State games. We're running like crazy from, June, July, August. We get done with the state games. We can finally breathe for a second. But then at the same time, we're trying to recap all of our summer stuff, get all of the stuff from the summer out, in that August to September time where we are now. But last weekend really kicks us off to a busy month here, where we've got a lot of big JUCO events going on. We've got a couple big tournaments that we're running. We had the All-American game, and we'll be busy here for the next month and a half leading until November and until the weather changes and forces us inside up here in Chicago. But yeah, big weekend. I want to start, I know we introduced Josh Fields, but I want to start first off with the All-American game. And Gavin Smith, I know you were down there with Tyler Deffelball, a lot of our other staff, Shooter Hunt, main guys from across the company running the event down there, the second annual event. And I was lucky enough to be able to see the first one last year up in Milwaukee, but this year I was covering a tournament over the weekend. You guys were down there running it. Give us just a quick recap, whatever takeaways you guys may have had from the week.
Yeah, Def, I'll start. I know you've got some stuff too, but I think it was just a really cool experience for those players. Our company, Mizuno, and all the partners did a really good job of making that a first-class experience for the players. I mean, if you saw all the gear that those guys got, it was ridiculous. They got so many shirts, shoes, bats, gloves. It was awesome. Really cool experience. So many players were just blown away, as well as their families, by what they were getting. And it was awesome. I think there was a lot of great experiences within the event too, aside from the gear that they got, aside from the actual workout and the gameplay. On the banquet night, which I believe was Friday, Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had speeches from Tony Vitello, Brandon Geyer, Jacob Turner. And I think my big takeaway from those was just them talking about the importance of just being a good person, and how that transfers to just being a good player on the field too. And trying to, as an All-American, bring your experience back to your teammates, your community, and try and implement that, and kind of be a representation for your community in a good way, and don't get too big and think you're too good because you were at this event, but be humble with it, and just be a good person and be a good teammate, and use your experience as well. But yeah, and I think a big takeaway from me too, the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation, they have a Verse Cancer brand basically, and we partnered with them, and we raised $21,200 for that. And I thought that was a really, really cool thing. Jaden Fowski, one of our Illinois guys, personally raised $1,000, almost $1,100. And then Ethan Bass raised $1,500. So really cool to see both of our Illinois guys have such an impact on that organization with their raising money for this. So it was a really cool experience. Tyler, I don't know if you have anything else that you want to touch on to kind of talk about it and kind of give a recap with it, but those were some of my biggest takeaways personally.
No, yeah, a couple things you hit on. I mean, can't emphasize enough. It was such a first class operation from top to bottom. What this company did for all those guys that came down, it you almost have to be there to like believe it. See it to believe it type deal. It's unreal. I think it's also awesome to get them in a setting like Miami, Florida, right? Like it's to fly all those families down, get them in a great hotel for the week or weekend, and get them on a big league diamond too with big league grounds crew, getting to be in a big league clubhouse for the game and for the workout day. It's a really really unique experience for those kids, and I hope a lot of them took into account what Vitello and Geyer and Turner and all those guys that got up and spoke. I just hope they took it all to heart. And it's really similar to what Drew tells our future games kids, right? Like the work's just starting. Okay, like in being a future gamer, even it's an honor, but you know you still have to be a good person. It's not a cocky thing like, oh, I was a future gamer, like I don't need to keep working. Oh, I was an All-American, I don't need to keep working. So it was really cool to just especially see a guy like Vitello, right? Just won a national championship at Tennessee to talk about continuing to be humble, even if you're at the highest of your game right now. So those were two things I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said, but also I just think it's really cool that Illinois had two guys there to represent in Fauski and Ethan Bass. We were also supposed to get Cam Appenzeller and Jack Bauer, I believe, were both invited. Unfortunately, both had to be shut down, but really cool to just get that type of representation for our state. Not every state gets guys that go down there, so to see Illinois represent for the Midwest was really cool.
One thing that I really enjoyed about it for myself and a learning experience really was, as someone that's does scouting with the company and you're trying to better yourself as a scout, getting to go to an event like this and seeing it last year as well, like you're seeing the best players in the country. Many of these guys are going to get drafted out of high school. And now we can kind of take that back to our conversations that we have with our rankings updates and just trying to like understand players and what level is a good fit for them and what a draft guy out of high school really looks like. We got to see that and kind of use that now and hopefully help ourselves moving forward to better understand how to help evaluate a player better.
That there's a lot of good points there that I wanted to touch on as you guys were talking. Gavin, to your point, I mean, it's always great to calibrate the eyes, right? Like to see what it's supposed to look like. And then to bring it back and then to have to decipher like, okay, this is what it looks like at the JUCO level. This is what it looks like as a senior in high school. This is what it looks like as a freshman. I think that's one of the really hard jobs that we have is we evaluate players at all different stages in their career. A eighth grader in high school is very different than a senior in high school. And going back to your guys' point about these guys just being, the top of the class, like the All-American game is and the way we do it at Prep Baseball, which first off, I want to give Sean Duncan a ton of credit. Like across the company, we knew that we wanted to put together a big time event. It was one thing, outside of the Super 60 and the future games, which I think are two of the best events out there, having a true All-American game where they can kind of spoil those players and give them that awesome experience. And for Sean and the rest of the company to be able to pull that off, like that is really, really cool to see. And to see how well they've pulled it off. And I can't wait to see what the future years hold. But those top of the class guys, future gamers, All-American guys, to me, they have a responsibility that all the eyes are on them. And they can take that in a number of different ways. Like you said, they can go out there, they can be cocky, look at me, or they can go about it the right way and really lead by example and set the tone for those guys coming up who want to be the next Jaden Fauskis, who want to be the next Ethan Basses. So I love that they're getting that message. Baseball, life, whatever it may be, it's very humbling. And the moment you have things figured out, the moment you think you are the king or whatever it may be, you get humbled. So I love that they're continuing to express that. And these guys they're 2026 is 2025's, like their job is not done. Like they have the talent and the ability to dream extremely big. And to get to that level, they're going to have to work harder than they've ever worked, to the point they're at right now. But those were just some things I wanted to piggyback off of what you guys said. I think it's really cool how they do the All-American game. It's not come in on a Saturday morning, do a quick workout, play a game, and get out. Like, it's a multiple day event. They have a banquet. They have a ton of hangout time where guys are getting to know each other, which I think is like the coolest part. Like, these guys from Illinois are meeting kids from California, Arizona, Florida, wherever, and they're building lifelong relationships, and they're going to be able to follow each other through pro ball, college, whatever it may be, playing ping pong, playing bags. Like, it's just a really, really cool thing that they do down there. So I wanted to touch on that as well.
And another cool touch I forgot to mention too, they had a bags tournament, and they actually had a professional bags team, I guess, come in and play the players. So that was really cool to see. They were wearing their jerseys and stuff, and so I think it was just a cool added touch for those guys to get to play against guys like that.
Did we have anybody that could hang with those guys? Or are
that
they just on another level?
I didn't actually get to watch the tournament go down, but so maybe there was someone that was close, but I can't imagine that anybody could hang with them.
Well, awesome. And I know you guys talked about Ethan Bass and Jaden Fowsky. Jaden Fowsky's a 2025 left-handed hitter out of Nazareth. He should be, highly sought after, highly followed this whole offseason, going into the fall, whether it's Jupiter, into the Super 60, into next spring. He should get plenty of attention. And Ethan's only a 2026, and he's actually uncommitted right now. So he's still got a ways to go and some things to figure out, but he's a highly talented, versatile athlete out of Glenbrook North that's been a varsity starter since his freshman year, just like Jaden Fowsky. So I think we were represented really well down there and could have had two more, like you said, two high-level left-handed arms. But they've thrown a lot of innings this year and need to let it rest. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on there, Gavin, with the All-American game? Because if not, I'll turn it over to what we were doing here in the Midwest this past weekend.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. Go ahead. It was obviously an awesome weekend for you guys as well, so take it over.
Yeah, so, running concurrently to the All-American game, we have one of our biggest weekends in the Midwest with the PUMA Classic and the Fall Championship coinciding, running alongside each other at the Grand Park facility in Westfield, Indiana. But then also there's fields up in Kokomo that they were running some stuff at. So we had a lot of our staff, all hands on deck, running around at all the different fields, all the different pods down there, watching as much as we could on the weekend. Now there's, I want to say, 24, 30, 36. There's over 100 teams at this high school event. We're not able to see every team, but we were tracking down as many teams as we could. But really what the eye candy of this weekend is, and what draws in all the coaches, all the schools, which there were over 200 college programs in Indianapolis, in Westfield, at Grand Park this weekend. It's because of the PUMA Classic. It is the big JUCO event. It's all the top JUCOs in the Midwest. They come in there, they play 2 games, and they get out. They throw all their top arms. The programs that are loaded with arms, they'll probably throw as many sophomores as they can. Other programs will just throw all their arms. They'll throw them 1-2 innings, let them get some work. And then they get out, and we had Josh Fields kind of leading the charge there with Peter Hammett and Dave Seifert, and David Go was bouncing around watching some stuff, and Charles Frady, who was an intern for us this past summer, he's up at Northwestern. He's a rock star individual, was running around doing some stuff as well at the JUCO stuff. So Josh Fields, this is your thing. You've been crushing all the Illinois JUCOs. JUCO events we've run so far this fall. You've done a couple Wisconsin ones. Really, what I want to hear from you is just any takeaways you had, but like top guys. It was on Friday and Saturday last weekend. Anything else that you want to, provide, throw out there? I might be asking questions or digging in on some guys, but go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. First of all, this is awesome. But like Drew said, over 200 college coaches and pro scouts were there, just all there watching these junior college players, and the talent was talent was pretty good. I mean, we had multiple 94-mile-an-hour arms. We had a couple guys that just really threw well. The arms, I would say, were ahead of the bats here, but just a few guys that really wanted to shout out. Jacob O'Day, sophomore from Heartland. 2 innings, multiple swings and misses with the fastball, played up to 93 with carry. And then he paired that off with the swing and miss breaking ball that he was just throwing that, breaking it off on command, snapping it off in the zone, challenging the hitters, really. Another guy who did similarly to Jacob O'Day was Pierce Herrenbrook, who throwing 3 innings, ran into some trouble during those innings, but was interesting nonetheless with a heater up to 94, low 80s breaking ball, and showed a splitter that with some depth. On top of that, it was Thomas Howard, who also stole the show. He's a 6'4" right-hander, looks like a workhorse. Starter's look. Showed 3 pitches here, a fastball to 93 that also he just challenged hitters repeatedly in the zone, just making hitters uncomfortable with his fastball, and then snapped off a low 80s breaking ball that, again, just continued to miss bats in the zone. Hitters were chasing out of the zone. It was impressive stuff from this.
So you're talking Jacob O'Day. He's a right-hander at Heartland.
Yeah.
He was a normal community kid out of high school, and I remember John Rosner, who he works for us. He used to be the head coach at Plainfield Central High School, but they were really good a couple years ago, and they made a run in the playoffs, and they got knocked out by Jacob O'Day. And he said that O'Day had some legit stuff against him that day. And I know the people in Bloomington Normal were talking high on him out of high school. They thought the sky was the limit. Sounds like he's making a jump. So that's awesome to hear. The second arm, he's out of Ren Lake. So he's down in the GRAC. And then you were talking about Thomas Howard, and he's at John A. Logan, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Are all 3 of these guys sophomores?
Thomas Howard is a redshirt freshman.
Redshirt freshman. Okay. All right. So sorry for digging in here. I just love that this is a lot of these guys, come out of Indiana or Illinois or Wisconsin. I think Thomas Howard's out of Kentucky. But we have a lot of background and history on these guys. So then to see where they go and what they do in JUCO and what we had on them in high school, I always just love it. So keep going. Any other guys that did it for you outside of those 3 arms?
It wasn't just the sophomores either. There were some freshmen that really stood up, like Sean Dooley out of McHenry County. He's a freshman for them. Fastball was only up to 90, but got swings and misses in the zone. He really snapped off a low 80s breaking ball. It got up to 82. 1 inning, really efficient outing. Just continued to improve on what he did throughout the high school career that he had.
Probably smart on them. He's a freshman, just throwing him 1 inning. Give the coaches a little taste of like, hey, this is a guy we have maybe for next year. We'd like to keep him for his freshman year, but sounds like a good arm. Is he a Wisconsin guy originally? Where's Dooley from? Okay.
Small town Wisconsin, Palmyra Eagle High School.
Got it. Were these all day 1 guys on Friday? Or
O'Day,
just a mixture?
Herrenbrook, and Howard were day 1.
Okay.
Sean Dooley was on Saturday.
Okay. All right. Well, what else? Because I know there was a ton of coaches in there. They're going in to see some powerhouse programs, make sure they're doing their homework. Were there any guys that popped, outside of that surprised you? Any under the radar guys? Any bats that did it for us?
So one bat that really did it for us was Parker Price out of Kaskaskia. He's a sophomore there, left-handed hitter. Can really play center field, really track down a ball that he had to travel over about 100 feet to get to. Looked like a high-level play, a guy that can play center field at the next level, and then it's just a smooth left-handed bat. Really plays in game. It even hit for us down there, so he's a high-level bat that's on the market for them.
And we saw him this fall at a JUCO Scout Day, correct? Because I remember seeing his video. You guys put out a spotlight tweet on him because he runs. He's like a 6'7" runner. He's from a small town in Illinois. I didn't have much out of him, in high school. So those are always fun to see too. Guys that maybe were under the radar go to JUCO and they pop and are getting seen by these big time programs. All right. Well, is there anybody else that you want to touch on here?
One more bat, Addison Worthman. We have plenty of history on Addison Worthman as a prep over here in Illinois, but he's at Parkland now, playing outfield for them, and it's just real juice from the right side. Peter got a home run in game on video. We spotlighted him, and it's real juice, and he's a performer now.
He could be playing fullback in the Big Ten or something with how athletic he is for that size. It's pretty crazy.
Hammett, do you have some guys you want to touch on from JUCO?
Yeah, how about our guy Seth Impson? He was honestly probably the best arm I saw on Saturday. Up to 92 with all sorts of confidence, not just in himself but in his pitches too. Like first pitch of the inning, you're getting up on that mound. You see 30 plus scouts. Half of them are probably for the MLB. For me, first thing I want to do is rip a fastball and see how hard it is. He spins in a little breaking ball, and I was like, oh, okay, Seth. And then from there, he was just pitching. He was up to 92, could really spin a breaking ball. Changeup looked good too. Cole Sims, a left-handed hitting outfielder for Frontier. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the JUCO side of things. He was someone I did not know, but I was really, really in on the left-handed swing. Back spun a double, kind of backside up the middle, his first at-bat, or one of the earlier at-bats in the day. And I was kind of in from there. And then later on in the day, hit a home run straightaway center. So some people were kind of in on him from that. But no, it was a great event. It was first time I've ever seen it in person. And yeah, it's the real deal, man. It's legit.
It's got a future games feel to it with how many schools are just packed into that 4-field quad there. Everywhere you turn, you feel like you're just seeing a big time school. So awesome, obviously, for those JUCO players to get in front of those schools. And the fall for these big time programs is really, really big in the JUCO landscape. If you are a college that attacks JUCOs, this is when you're out, doing all of your homework on these JUCO guys, because there's events pretty much every weekend now, for the rest of the fall where these schools are going to get together, playing these sort of jamboree type things, and hopefully, bring in multiple college programs to come watch. But I say that. At the same time as this PUMA Classic, and Josh, is there anything else you want to mention on the JUCO side of things before I turn the page?
Great event. It's all second year coming to this event. It's always run great. The talent's always there. It's definitely an event that if you're a college coach and you're not scouting it, you need to get there next year. And
everything that we see from PBR JUCO, we're putting it out on our X, Twitter handles with everything from the PUMA. If people missed it, if people want to see some guys that we saw, they can go to that X account, correct? The PBR JUCO, and find everything they need?
Correct.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I just got done talking about how these big programs are trying to track down JUCO guys in the fall. But at the same time, they are still mixing in plenty of high school coverage when they can. So there were guys floating around the high school stuff when there were breaks from the JUCO, or maybe a couple programs they didn't need to see, and they'd go watch a guy that they were tracking down in high school. And between us and Prep Baseball Indiana, Cooper Trinkle over there had a crop of guys that were bouncing around fields. We tried to cover as much as we could. I know they saw some stuff. We saw some stuff. It's kind of hard to break it all down in a systematic way here. I kind of just want to go through some guys that we thought stood out and showed well. And there was Wisconsin flavor, there was Illinois flavor, and there was it's an event that brings in all of the top travel programs, summer programs into Indy for the one weekend. There's programs from Michigan, Ohio, Missouri, Kentucky. And selfishly, being the Illinois-Wisconsin scouting supervisor, I am, kind of tunnel visioned on our Illinois-Wisconsin guys, trying to see as much as I can. In a short period of time, I was there for about half of the event. I know you guys were grinding it out for like the full thing and doing the JUCO and the high school. So you may not have as much high school as, maybe Cooper Trinkle had, because he was just crushing all of it. But Hammett, was there anybody or anything off the top with the high school stuff that you want to touch on? It honestly, it could be a committed guy. Just I want to talk about strong performances, guys that are looking good in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I got a laundry list here, but I think first I want to start with Brady Cunningham. Up to 88, really like attacking the zone, a ton of carry, missing a ton of bats, spinning a little breaking ball and a changeup that he actually got some firewood on. And then he comes up with a wood bat and hits it straightaway center home run. I'm not sure what I like him better as, to be honest. I think he can do it both ways. Like I've long liked the bat. It's easy juice and it's really simple. But he just keeps performing on the mound too, and he's up to 88. I'm sure that's gonna keep ticking up here soon.
I mean, good thing for him is he's in no hurry to have to decide if he wants to be a bat or an arm, because they're both very, very good.
Yeah,
Especially just the easiness in his juice and how physical he is. And if we're talking about, that team in 27s, we might as well just stay on any other 27s that you saw for that team. I know we got a little look at Colin Campbell,
yeah,
or anybody else that you thought you'd want to mention.
yeah. Campbell's a baller. I love watching him play. Just the way he talks about the game, like to his teammates when he's on deck, what he sees in the field. He's very vocal. He's always locked in. He's a premier defender. Really love the swing too. Quick too. Like he's the only knock on him is he's a little undersized right now, and that is what it is. But I think the way he plays the game makes up for it. He's just plays with his hair on fire. Very, very fun to watch. Same deal kind of with Luca Agni. That kid's a baller too. Plays with his hair on fire, high motor. I think both of those dudes are really fun to watch, and they both got really bright futures ahead.
And that's just a good team in general. From what I saw last year, I know some of those names are guys that we invited to our super sophomore event in Indiana. That was a tough weekend as far as figuring out the IHSA rules, but we got through it. And I don't know if there's any other 27s that you have to mention, but regardless, I'm just going to keep plowing through names and good names that I saw that I liked, or maybe some guys I saw tweeted that I didn't see that I had questions on. One guy that I loved the video, and we hadn't got a look at him for a lot of the summer, but he's still a high-level 2025 for us, and I would think a draft follow is CJ DeKinga. Frame looked great in the video. Swing, I'll let you speak on it, Peter, if you saw it. And Josh Fields, if there's any guys we talk on here that you happen to see, feel free to chime in as well. But that video, it looked right and was very intriguing.
Yeah, it is right. I mean, he's 6'4" and still has all sorts of room to get. He might even be bigger than 6'4". I don't know. Still all sorts of room to get stronger. Yeah, he was I mean, the swing is definitely one to dream on. Like he just missed that home run. And then for me, like one of my favorite parts about that video is obviously the ball is like we're zooming in on the ball and then you just see him burning around second base. Like he's got multiple tools, and they're all premium, and he's got a real chance to, gain some pro interest this coming spring. But he can also defend it at third base too. There was a play where I don't know what happened. Maybe his cleat got stuck in the ground and he like fell, and it was a ball hit to him. He like fell, and then somehow still made the play and got the guy out. So just a good look at him all around. I think that kid's got a real bright future ahead of him for sure.
Love that, because he's a former future gamer that really blew up at the future games and high ceiling, and man, it's what it should look like. So two other guys on the mound that I saw on our Twitter, I did not see them at this event, but Jackson Natanic looked like it's a lot of what we've seen in the past, maybe just even a little firmer, 87, 89, but he's always had the slider. Fields, were you on that one?
Yeah, I was on that one. This was my first look at Jackson Natanic. First off, right before he gets on the mound, there was a close play at first from the left side, and he just rips off this bullet from the left side of the infield at short to get the guy out. And then he goes in the mound and is just firing 88-mile-an-hour carry fastballs for strikes and just challenging hitters, ripping off a two-plane breaking ball on command whenever he wants it. It was super impressive from just a guy I've never seen before.
So Natanik's going to Illinois State. Brother Rice, two-way guy, middle infielder, can really pick it like you said, but also has all kinds of intriguing arm talent on the mound as well. CJ DeKing is going to Michigan State, and then Lucas Grant, lefty, Joliet Catholic, recently committed to Purdue. Long been a talented left-hander, but he kind of battled some fluky type injuries this summer. Like, he was getting ready to pitch down at our senior future games while he was still uncommitted before he committed to Purdue, and in the bullpen had something happen to his neck, so didn't push it there, but looked healthy. Finally saw him at the fall championship, and looked good from what I saw on the video.
Yeah, it's super, super easy. Some of the best command. Like, command is not a word that you want to throw around very often. There's a difference between that and control. You're maybe not placing it where you want, but it still strikes and it's still competitive. I would say that Lucas Grant was commanding it where he wanted, especially with the fastball. I just love the way it comes out. It sinks a ton too. Super easy, high-waisted kid. He's definitely going to continue to get stronger. And I mean, he's got two quality off-speed pitches too that'll help change the pace and get some swing and miss as well. I don't know, Josh, if you had anything to add for him, but I thought it was really, really impressive, and he threw the ball well too.
No, I was just going to go and add that was the best command of the fastball that I've seen in my 3 years of working here. Just true command, both sides of the plate, wherever he wants it.
That's some really high praise, Josh, because you've seen some very legitimate arms the last couple of years, especially up there in Wisconsin. So kudos to Lucas Grant. That's awesome to hear. I think that's a really good commit there for Purdue, a guy that's got a chance to impact their program at a young age. There's some other 25s. If I come across them here as we're talking, I'll bring them up. But the 26s I felt were pretty strong. I'm just kind of going through all of our notes here. And one guy that I personally saw that I just want to mention, he's been up and down in our looks. Logan Fernandez. He's a 2026 outfielder from Mount Carmel. Extremely athletic, talented, strong athletic frame with even more to come. He's got some wide shoulders, but he's a burner. Like, it's a elite runner for his age. And I saw the bat really tick up at this event. They're swinging wood bats all weekend at the fall championship. Some get a single in his first at bat, and then he takes just a easy wrist flick double backspin line drive over the center fielder's head. I want to see if I had a time on that. Let's see, Logan Fernandez. I had him 4.67 on the turn, just kind of coasting. But then his third at bat, he gets a little jammed. Hits it to the left side of the infield, runs a 4.36 and beats it out. Infield single, 4.36. Didn't even really get out of the box. You see some of these guys that get a good run time, they're getting the jailbreak swing where it's maybe an away pitch where they're already kind of lunging, leading themselves out of the box. He got jammed, tied up, took him a second to get out of the box, but it's an explosive runner when he gets going. And if he can hit, if he can swing it consistently and just take good at bats and be on the barrel, limit the swing and miss, he's got a chance to be a high-level prospect. It's still raw. It's still coming into his own. But, when he shows flashes like that, it makes you dream for sure. So that was one 2026 I wanted to mention. Another guy that I think you guys might have seen, I don't know if it was just Cooper Trinkle that got a look at him. Maybe we should have had Cooper jump on this podcast too. But Samuel Chin, left-hander out of St. Lawrence, 2026, uncommitted, just like Logan Fernandez. He's long been a very, very good mover. 79-82 over the weekend, but still is extremely interesting given the movement patterns, the ease, the repertoire, and what it could be. I don't know if you guys saw that outing.
No, unfortunately, that was during the PUMA, but yeah, the video looks great. I mean, he's long been that guy, kind of I don't care if I get bashed for saying it, but it's like a little bit of a Cam Appenzeller look for me, just the way the front side works and the way it comes through. Like, I think that kid still has a ton left in the tank. And I'm not saying he's going to be Cam Appenzeller, but I think the kid is going to be very good. And he already is very good. But no, we love Sam Shin over here.
Well, and another left-handed arm, and I'm going to keep it right there on you because we hadn't seen him in a while. I
Mm-hmm.
think he transferred high schools.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac Harris.
Yeah.
Just showed some arm strength, left-handed. Got to know, got to follow. But anything else that you had on him?
No, it was good to see him. Like we haven't seen him in what was that? Maybe over a year now, at least. Like I think I saw him last summer, not this past, but the one before. No, I'm glad I saw him. He was 83 to 86 in the first inning, coming out really good, missing bats, and then he comes out the second inning, even firmer. It's up to 88, struggling to spin the breaking ball a little bit. It was kind of backing up on him, but it had the right shape, just popping out of his hand a little early. But no, he's a really interesting arm, and the takeaway for me was that he was filling it up. Like that has kind of been, um, you know, what could hurt him in the past is if he was spraying it, but he was throwing a ton of strikes, and so I mean, if he's doing that, then I think, you know, that's really interesting. An arm up to 88 with that frame that can continue to get better. It's some interesting stuff for sure.
Absolutely, especially for me when it's left-handed. Like
Yeah, I mean,
left-handed arm talent, arm strength. Like you have to follow that.
the talk
Especially
of
if,
the
yeah, he's throwing strikes.
yeah, the talk of the tournament was like any left-hander with a pulse was good enough for these coaches to go watch. So, and he
It's
was,
I'm telling you, being left-handed, it adds to your profile status, and it elevates you immediately. You and a right-hander, if it's a left-hander and a right-hander, and it's the same stuff, the left-hander, you're taking him all day, and it's not even close. So another left-handed arm, 2026. We were looking at this guy in the summer. Very talented, Brother Rice, Braden McKendrick. We personally did not see him. I saw that Cooper or somebody with Indiana saw him, and it was 84, 87 from the left side, 84, 86 from the left side with 3 pitches around the zone enough, and really liked the way he moved. And that was one that Cooper was texting me on, and we liked him in the past. So wanted to mix him in there with those other lefties, like because there's still plenty to follow here in Illinois that are on the market that have a chance to be high level. Some other guys, just looking through my notes here on some names. Jeremy Thompson's a 2026 arm that has really opened some eyes since the Illinois State games, and he showed more of the same. I think he threw multiple times on the weekend because I caught him for a quick 1 inning. I think, Peter, you caught him as well.
yeah, he was up to 89 against Cubs scout team, and he was getting some swing and miss against a very good team with very good hitters. And the thing about him, like he's so physical, and like the arm strength is very evident, like very clear. Like he's throwing 89. You watch his delivery, there's a lot more in there that he's not even tapping into. Like once he gets with a pitching coach or they start cleaning up that lower half, I think that he's going to be 90s in a hurry. So yeah, it was good to see him though, like competing and making those hitters struggle the way they did, especially that lineup. That's probably the most potent lineup there, and one of the more potent lineups we've seen in a while.
Some guys that I wanted to touch on here next are 4 actual future gamers from this summer. One being Tyler Townsend, a right-hander that we talked on the Future Games podcast after we did it. Sycamore arm, we had seen it up to 90, 89, 90 in the spring out of the pen. And he did not have the velo at this event. It was more like 84, 86, but looked a lot cleaner, was all around the zone throughout his outing, and was landing a breaking ball consistently, seemingly whenever he wanted to, and it had some depth, really like good solid shape to it. So I was very happy to see that out of Tyler, because I think that's only going to be going up from where I saw it this past weekend. Nolan Ramley, committed to Kentucky after the Future Games, was one of the big winners from the Future Games. He's a high level, top 5 prospect for us in the class, top 6 prospect for us in the class. But Peter, I know you saw him and had some good things to say about him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some of the more freakish tools. I would say probably not even in just the state, probably countrywide, I would think. Um, but no, I thought his at bats were very good. Um, he's, the knock, I guess, would be like his rawness, but he seemed a lot more polished, very confident. Like the way he was taking fastballs out of the zone, he seemed very comfortable. And then he was like a lot more on time too. Like his timing was pretty good. And then I saw him get 2 barrels for singles. So no, it was a good look at him, and I'm glad that he's continuing his success from the future games, because he was by far and away one of the biggest winners we had, and proven with the fact that he's already committed now. But no, it was
Well,
it was a good look at him.
another future gamer that I saw really, really swinging it was Max Heineman, catcher, normal community, still uncommitted. He's on the board. In my look on Saturday, it was very intentful, all over the barrel, hard backspin, line drive contact, and just yeah, it was how it should look. There's really not much more to say on Max other than he's long been a above average bat in this class, and it looks like more of the same. I mean, the ball really comes off his bat, especially for a wood bat. It was loud contact. Um, Good quick look at Max, and then Dominic Batista plays on the same team as Heineman there. Dominic's an outfielder from Oswego East. He's a guy we invited to the future games. It was a little late. He wasn't able to make it. But that should hopefully speak to the talent that we've long thought that Dominic's has. Left-handed hitter. I saw him drive a double off the wall. Really fluid look in the box. Was a little in between on some pitches. Not sure to chase some, lay off some, taking some hittable pitches potentially, but the swing works. It's really athletic. It's a really good looking prospect, and I like Dominic Batista, and I like the upside there. Um, Another 2026 that's still on the board, infielder Mason Netzel at St. Charles North. Playing shortstop, played a steady short when I saw him, but I really liked the swings he was taking. It was the 8 a.m. slot on that Saturday, Peter, when you were watching Brady Cunningham do his thing. Like Mason Netzel seemed like he was awake and ready to roll. Like he took um, a number of A swings where he's all over it. Lined a couple balls hard into the outfield, fouled a couple balls hard off. Flew out, I think, in one at bat, but I like the bat. I think the hit tool's there, and if it's a guy that can stay up the middle of the infield, he's certainly a guy that should be followed moving forward. Those are some 2026s that stood out to me. I'm making sure that in Illinois, I didn't miss any guys. 2 guys in Wisconsin in that 2026 class that I think really deserve a shout out. Number one being Cameron Carter. Right-handed arm, was on the Wisconsin Future Games team, plays for hitters. Long levered right-handed arm, and there's it's a little bit of a unique delivery. It's an over-the-top slot, but what I saw, and I was bouncing around a four-field complex trying to watch as much as I could. There were 4 Illinois games going on at that 8 a.m. slot, with Cameron Carter throwing as well. So I was trying to see as much as I could, but I saw a live arm over the top slot with all kinds of carry to the fastball. He was missing a ton of bats. It was nothing but strikes, and he was 85, 88 and going to a tight, hard downer 78 mile an hour curveball. It had to have been one of the most dominant starts of the weekend. He struck out 18. He took a perfect game. It was either a no-hitter or a perfect game, so I'm going to call it a perfect game. They can correct me if I'm wrong. Into the 7th inning with 2 outs and gave up a hit. But wow. I mean, really, like that, it was a wow performance, especially for the middle of September in the fall, 8 a.m. game. It was highly impressive. So, Josh, is there any background you want to fill in with him, or anything you want to touch on? He's very, a guy that I think should be followed closely. Still uncommitted, correct?
Yeah, still uncommitted. Actually, no Wisconsin commits from our future games team yet. So,
Okay.
caveat there. Yeah, 6'4", tall, lanky right-hander. Just oozes projection. But
And
the strikes that he threw was impressive. Over 70% strikes in the outing with 18 Ks, no walks, one hit. Just it was
yeah,
super impressive. The video look super impressive. Really impressed with Cam Carter there. It's something. The two pitches have always been there. It's just been the strikes in our previous looks.
well, he's it looks like he's maybe just starting to scratch the surface even of like where he could go, and I think the ceiling is immense. I mean, another arm that I think we all love up there in Wisconsin is Colton Semmelman. He was throwing this weekend. I know he's had some big visits that he's gone on just from what I was kind of gathering, talking to some people up there. But anything you want to touch on there, Josh?
Yeah, he was our ace for the future games. It's a it's a fluid mover starter with three pitches from the left side. Vinny Rotino was saying that these guys don't grow on trees, and we got a good one with Colton Sullivan up there. Just looks every part of a high level D1 arm there.
225s that I glossed over a little bit, and I'm just kind of rummaging back through my notes. Matthew Steinberg, I don't think we saw him in the Illinois Wisconsin office here. I think somebody in Indiana saw him, but 84, 87, 75 slider. They put him out on X, so that's a guy to know out of St. Charles East, big body right-hander. And then a guy I saw come out of the bullpen for top tier was a right-hander named Obed Lopez, Harvest Christian. And it was a very interesting look. I only caught it for about half of the inning. Some guys made some errors behind him, but first pitch out of the pen, he comes in and he throws a really hard, tight slider for a strike, lands it for a strike, and then he backs it up with 85 and then 88 on the fastball. Was consistently in and around the zone and going to this hard downer breaking ball at 75, 76 whenever he wanted to. Throwing it with intent, arm speed, coming out of the same kind of tunnel window as his fastball. I mean, he would have been out of the inning immediately if he just had some help from his defense. He had to throw a lot more pitches than needed, after that. But just a quick, very, very interesting look out of Oped Lopez, Harvest Christian, name to know there, 85, 87 with feel for a breaker. And then switching gears once again, 2027s. We haven't talked about them. Couple guys just on here that I know, Peter, you saw all three of these guys actually, so I might just let you take it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, Isaiah Martin, he was actually a guy that our guy Charles was on. I saw it too, but Charles kind of picked him out and identified him, which is great to see. Really projectable kid. He's an athlete. I think he's a 6'9" runner. He can play a little bit of the infield and the outfield. He was on the barrel a couple times. Really liked the way it moves. Like the way the swing works. He's got a high ceiling for sure. Russell Hangles, he was playing for Elite. Long levered kid. Did not know the name. Did not know who he was. But I really was in on the way it worked. He was up to 85 with the fastball, and it was coming out clean. And there's definitely more in that tank mechanically and just with the frame.
I really like that video, Peter.
Yeah.
And like you said, we didn't know that name, and those are the ones that we love to see. Guys that pop up. We're going to the fall championship. We're trying to find, guys we don't know and guys that need to be known and need to be highlighted. And Maine South, I'm pretty sure he's at.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's going to need to be a team that we make sure we get out and see, because they've got a lot of young prospects, a lot of quality young prospects, and they were super young last year. So just another one there at Maine South to keep an eye on.
Yep. Agreed.
But yeah, sorry to butt in there, but the last guy, was it Michael Herron?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was the guy that we liked at the Rock this summer. He's physical right-handed hitter. And it was a lot of the same that we've seen in the past, just on the barrel with authority. It's a heavy barrel too. That kid's got a chance to really hit throughout the high school ranks.
And some 28s. There were a couple 2028s that we were getting some eyes on. One of the first games out of the gate that I got to see was GRB Sticks and their starter Max Webb. He's a 2028, long levered. He was a part of the Wisconsin Junior Future Games this past summer. Nothing crazy with the velocity, as you wouldn't expect at that age, but upper 70s. And I really love the way it worked. I love the way he pitched. It's a very fluid, easy mover, clean. He was upper 70s, getting some tilt on the fastball, and then go into a curveball with advanced feel. A 2028 landing a breaking ball with the proper shape, arm speed. At that age, it was just really good to see. He could really pitch. I love the upside there. Just a lot of pitchability. And then Eli Hart was a shortstop that I really liked that also was on that Wisconsin Junior Future Games team. So they had a squad down there this past summer that actually made a run on that Sunday in the playoffs to make it interesting before the rains hit down there in Atlanta. But two just very interesting upside names to know in Wisconsin. Josh, feel free if there's anything else you had on those guys.
Yeah, both of them played big roles in our run down at Lake Point for the Junior Future Games. Max Webb, just advanced feel for spin, I would say. Just echoing everything Drew said. Has a chance to work on the mound long term. And then Eli Hart, just a staple in our lineup down in Lake Point, but versatile defender up the middle.
Yeah. And there were some other junior future game participants floating around this past weekend. Two of them being, actually three of them. I'm sorry. Looking at our notes, Cameron Cox, and then we had Carver Cone and Cole Clower were three guys that we got to look on. Peter, I'm going to start with you. I know you got a brief look at Cam Cox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cam Cox. He was a guy that we brought kind of as an infielder to the Junior Future Games, but I'm pretty sure we had him playing some outfield too. Like that team was just so versatile. Like I had guys moving all around.
Yeah, he's definitely a natural. Yeah, definitely a natural shortstop, looking athletic enough to do it all. But yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. And yeah, I mean, he has a ton of moxie on the infield. Very confident in his glove. Very athletic. I love the way it looked out there. And then he was on the barrel a little bit Sunday with a double. So like the way, he's good. Good to see him swinging it. And yeah, we've liked him for a while now. Going to Montini.
Nice. And Carver Cone was a guy that I got a quick look at on Friday night. I think he's got a chance to be one of the, higher end prospects in this class. Like really looks the part, high level athlete, switch hitting outfielder. I saw, left-handed's always been his swing that maybe it's just because all left-handed swings maybe look a little prettier than right-handed swings, but I've always loved the left-handed swing. But he was hitting right-handed in my look, and man, it was just as good, equally as good as the left-handed. There was a lot of twitch. Ball came off the bat really hard, lined out right at the center fielder. Quick, really, really good look at Carver, kind of just continuing to do what he does and going up in our looks, or climbing, I guess, just continuing to get better. Tommy Gasner was another left-handed bat, or just bat on that GRB Rays Illinois team that I got to look at. Physical left-handed bat. Like I think there's going to be a lot of bat strength for a long time there, with some feel to hit. So that's a name to know. And then Rhino has a prospect named Cole Clower. Cole Clower was at our Junior Future Games. Shortstop, right-handed pitcher, left-handed hitter, and does a little bit of everything really well. Like I saw him pitch. It was clean. It's in the zone. It's a breaking ball. He's 80-81. Like it's going to be good one day. It's only going to get a lot firmer. But man, his left-handed bat is really interesting. Stands in there and it looks right. And I know he launched a big home run in the first night of the event. I didn't see it, but it's not surprising. And then I saw him on the barrel as well. He's going to be a name to know going to Manuka as far as 2028s are concerned. And, I'm sure there are so many other prospects that were floating around that we just did not get our eyes on this weekend, but we We worked our tails off getting to as much as we could and seeing as much as we could, and it was beautiful weather all weekend down there. So another great PUMA Classic, Fall Championship, All-American weekend, and we got more to come here down the road with a lot of JUCO Scout Days still on the books, and then this weekend we've got a tournament up at the Rock that should be pretty good, and a tournament going on in Rantoul. So stay tuned to our X accounts, all our social media. Stay tuned to the website, Prep Baseball Illinois, Wisconsin, and we'll continue updating you on all the players we see throughout the fall.